An update, of course, from the Canadian government. More than 1,400 Canadians now have been evacuated from Israel. 2 more planes took off. The total number of Canadians killed by the initial Hamas attack on Israel, 6. 2 Canadians do also still remain missing. The 6th Canadian the government confirmed was killed in those attacks was Tiferet Lapidot. The 23-year-old's family has deep connections to Saskatchewan, and many of her family still do live in the province. Tiferet was attending that music festival in southern Israel when the attack happened. I spoke with her uncle, Harel Lapidot. Have a listen. Hi, Mr. Lapidot. Thank you so much for making time for our program today, and my sincere condolences to you and your entire family on the loss of your niece.
Thank you very much for having us, for the empathy.
A week ago, not even a week ago, you and I were speaking on my radio program, and at the time you and your family thought that your niece had been among those kidnapped and held hostage. She was at that music festival in southern Israel. How did you come to find out that she had been killed instead?
Among those youngsters that were killed, some of them unfortunately couldn't be identified. And for 10 days, the police and the IDF tried to identify them. We had a signal from her cell phone that was deducted in the Gaza Strip. But unfortunately, it seems that they stole her phone. Nevertheless, they killed her and they stole her phone. It wasn't enough for those animals to kill our youngsters and to kill my niece. And they took everything that they had, the wallets, their cell phones, rings, clothes. They took everything that they could. They are just animals.
Your niece just turned 23 last Monday, if I remember correctly. What can you tell Canadians watching tonight about her?
Well, my niece was, just a youngster. She went to high school and afterwards she volunteered for 2 years for kids with special needs in Israel. After 2 years that she volunteered from day to night for those kids, she was asked to go to South Africa to volunteer on a mission for helping kids. She didn't care, she didn't ask if those kids were Jews, Christians, Muslims. Most of them were Muslims as far as we know. But, kids are kids. She didn't ask. She didn't care. She wanted to help and to volunteer. She was full of happiness. I was very close to her. And I loved her so much. During the time she was abroad, I was in Thailand and I asked her to come and visit me. And we saw each other from one side of the road to the other one, and she ran towards me, I ran towards her, and I held her. She was, as you can remember, she was 22 years old. I held her like a baby, hugging her, kissing her. And she hugged me back and kissed me. She was the soldier. She knew nothing about politics. She helped the other side that we were notified through these long days that those Nazi terrorists from the Hamas cared that she was Jewish. She was hunted by them because she was Jewish. She was killed because she was Jewish. They didn't care if she doesn't care or if she helped Muslims or Christians. they hunted her just because she was Jewish.
It must be horrifying to think of your niece, just 23, as you said. I remember you telling me she just went there to dance, like any 23-year-old, being targeted in that way, being hunted in that way, simply for the fact of being Jewish.
It's horrible. Those are the things that remain in our memory as people from the Holocaust, from the stories of the sisters of my grandma in Hungary, running through forests for their lives, and the Nazis are trying to capture them. Those are things that the Western world, America, Canada, Great Britain, France, they fought against that evil. That's a pure evil that should be hunted like they should be hunted. And we encourage the world to understand that before it's going to be too late in Europe, before it's going to be too late in Canada, you must hunt, you must take care of terrorists if they think, I'm not talking about Muslims, of course, I'm talking about those among the Muslims that believe in the horrific thing that each one that does not believe in their way of life should be killed. I don't think that each person in the world should be Jewish. Converting to Judaism is almost impossible. We believe that being a human being is being a human being.
Mr. Lapidot, when you reference the way in which Nazis, for example, in the past targeted Jewish people, or other groups have targeted Jewish people, I'm wondering, did you ever think someone like your niece, in this period of time, did you ever think that she could be targeted just for that?
No. We thought, and we were taught that Auschwitz was another planet. And things like that couldn't happen in any place in the world, especially not against Jewish people. And we expect the world to understand and to know that, and to tell the Hamas and any other group, like ISIS, they're twins, to tell them it's unbearable for us to think that a person should be hunted or killed because he's Jew, because he's homosexual, because he's I don't know what. So we believe and we think that the world should be united and to fight as soon as possible those in the Muslim world that thinks in that way of horrific way of life. You should do it as soon as possible because it's going to knock on your door. It knocked on our door. We didn't think it would happen. We didn't think that the people of Gaza would be cheering and throwing candies when they hear that youngsters were butchered. Those are Nazi things to do. And the world should say no and stand for Israel fighting those Nazis.
Mr. Lapidot, I appreciate you being with us today during what I can't even imagine how difficult it is for you and your family. And my sincere condolences on behalf of everyone watching for the loss of your niece, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I have another thing that I wanted to tell. I wanted to say thank you for to the government of Canada, and for the people of Canada, and for the Jewish community in Canada, for being supportive in those days. The government of Canada did whatever it could do. Prime Minister Trudeau, Madame Julie, the Foreign Minister, members of Parliament, just many people did whatever they can do to help us. I'm proud to be Canadian. The Jewish community did whatever it can do for us in those days, and we are very grateful for them. And I want to say just thank you. Thank you for trying to save my name.
Thank you, Mr. Lapidot.
Okay. Thank you very much for having us.